Welcome back to the Lone Wolf Saga. We are on Book 7, Castle Death. Particularly ominous title. So recently we just ventured down to... what's it called? Tekaro Cathedral. And we grabbed the Law Stone, which... I don't know, gave us new powers. I don't know if that's gonna change what we start with. Alright. Story so far. You are the warrior, lone wolf, last of the Kai Masters of Summerland, and sole survivor of the massacring a bitter war with your age-old enemies, the Dark Lords of Helgadad. Many centuries have passed since Sun Eagle, the first of your kind, established the Order of the Kai. Aided by the magicians of Desi, he completed a perilous quest to find 7 crystals of power known as the Law Stones of Nixator. With the 7 of them, with their discovery he unlocked the wisdom and strength that lay within both the Law Stones and himself. He recorded the nature of his discoveries and his experiences in a great tome called the Book of the Magna Kai. You have discovered this lost Kai treasure and have given a solemn pledge to restore the Kai to their former glory, ensuring the security of your land in the years to come. However, your diligent study of this ancient book has enabled you to master only 3 of the 10 Magna Kai disciplines. To fulfill your pledge, you must complete the quest first undertaken by Sun Eagle over 1,000 years ago. By doing so successfully, you too will acquire the power and wisdom of the Magna Kai that is held within the Law Stone's crystal forms. Much of Sun Eagle's script had faded with the passing years, and little remained to help you find the 7 Law Stones of Nixator. Guided by the few words that could still be deciphered, you set out upon a journey that took you to the war-torn city of Tekaro in the hostile land of Slovia. There, hidden deep in the crypt of the city's cathedral, you found the first Law Stone of Veretta. As you held the crystal triumphantly in your hand, its power was transfused into your being, and the location of the second stone formed slowly in your mind. Herdos. The remote township of Herdos stands upon the shore of Lake Kor, high in the Julun mountains of Desi. Here, the elder Magi, the magicians who rule the land, helped Sun Eagle on his quest long ago. Time has turned full circle, and once more their aid is sought by a warrior of the Kai. Fate has brought you to us, Lone Wolf, intones Ramoa, speaker for the High Council of the Elder Magi, as you stand before them in the Tower of Truth at Elzian, and our fate is bound to your quest. His clear voice fills the great cylindrical council chamber, and the white-robed elders gathered around you respond with one voice. It is so. Ramoa leads you to a circular dais set like a deep well into the green marble floor. Carefully he kneels and touches its liquid metal surface with his gloved hand. A current flows through the shimmering metal, and within its mirror-like depths a strange vision slowly takes shape. You see a black-walled fortress set upon a rocky isle, its deep purple shadows reflecting in the dark waters of a moonlit lake. You see before you Kazan Ud. The Law Stone of Herdos rests in this castle, deep within its accursed halls. We will take you to this fortress, Lone Wolf, but you must enter alone, for our powers hold no sway over the forces that command this terrible place. In the years that have passed since Sun Eagle first came to this land, a great evil has consumed Kazan Ud. We lack the means to destroy this evil, but we have labored to contain it, to prevent it from spreading beyond the Isle of Kor. Some of the bravest warriors of Magnamund have tried at our behest to defeat the power of Kazan Ud, yet all have perished. But fate now brings us a Kai Master, and our hearts rejoice, for the success of your quest will defeat the bane of Kazan Ud and deliver us from all of its evil shadow. A ripple of hopeful whispers arises from the circle of elders when they hear you state that you will go to Khazan-ud. As they accompany you from the council chamber to equip you for the dangerous mission that lies ahead, you ask the meaning of the words Khazan-ud. An uneasy silence descends on the dignified company, and all eyes turn to Rimoa. In the language of the Somlending, he says, which is the language I speak, his voice wavering, Castle Death. Right. So, cool. Okay, so we've already got we get to choose one more skill. Oh, and one more weapon mastery. Warhammer, bow, sword. What are we actually holding? Sword and a bow. Take something common like an axe, I suppose. Alright, so we've got weapons mastery, curing, hunt mastery. And if we want to complete these lore circles... Oh, oops. We've got that lore circle. It would be good to get one of these other ones. Circle of Solaris. For that, we should focus on... See, we're never going to get the Circle of the Spirit. We should get either invisibility or pathmanship. Invisibility is really good. Well, camouflage was really good. Invisibility is an upgraded version of camouflage. Pathmanship is pretty useful as well. Let's have a look. It's more useful when you're going to like foreign cities and stuff. If we know where we're going and we're going to a specific castle, then maybe invisibility will be better. Yeah, I'll go with invisibility. So they give you a map. Let's have a look at the map. Erebos is down here. The Magiocracy of Desi. So where is this in the big map? This is ooh, down here. Cool. We're slowly exploring all of this part of the continent. Alright. Additional crowns can be left in safekeeping at Yokai Monastery. I don't know what that sentence actually means. I guess at this point, right here, if I have more than 50, I can leave additional crowns at the monastery. But we're not at the monastery, so it's not clear when we can actually collect that. Alright. Lantern. Fire seed. Alright, so let's see. We can take up to 5. All meals and fire seeds count as one object. Wait, so I can take those as one. So we've got a sword and a Bow. We don't need another weapon. Lantern sounds useful. We don't need the tinderbox anymore, really. More arrows. Did they not add together? Alright, whatever. Take the potion. We've already got a rope. We don't need a map of Takara. What else? Another rope? In case we break one. Objects in the Kai Monastery. Oh. Since when can we do this? Alright. Should we store things in the Kai Monastery? It would be useful to store some extra arrows, I suppose. We could store... Store this 5 arrows quiver. What else? The tinderbox, I suppose. And the extra rope. In which case, we can actually take... I don't know, meals or something. Oh, we can only take that many. Map of Takaro. Store that. Just for the fun of it. So these are in case I survive, we can take those next time, but we've already got a few things. We've got the lantern, which you don't need the tinderbox for. But if we die, it all gets lost anyway, doesn't it? Oh, I don't know. Does the stuff in the monastery get lost? Probably. I mean, we can store the ticket to Luen. And the map of Retta, I suppose. Alright. Okay, let's carry on. If we reach the rank of primate, so these things have upgraded. Primate? Yes, we are. So, curing. Delay the effects of poisons, including venoms. High primate with this skill is not able to neutralize a poison. He's able to slow its effect. Hunt mastery. Increased agility. Climb without the use of climbing aids such as ropes. Okay. Oh my god, a lot of reading. Alright. The hours leading up to your departure from Elzian are spent checking and double-checking your equipment and provisions, but no matter how hard you try to concentrate on these preparations, your mind is constantly invaded by the shadowy image of Khazad-ud, an image identical to the vision that appeared the previous evening in the well of the council chamber. You are filled with a deep dread. Hello, DJ. I think on the run that you left on, I think I completed it. It turns out, like, if you get all the way to where the Law Stone is and then you fight that horrible monster, I was just one decision away from actually just ending the game. You literally just choose to go for the Law Stone instead of striking the monster, and that's the final page. But at least this time we've got highest combat skill, highest base combat skill. So yeah, I'm on page 1 of Castle Death. Oh, that's a lot of reading. Okay. You are filled with a deep dread as you contemplate the probable site of your own grave. Yeah, definitely a probable site of our own grave. However, coupled to this terrible sense of foreboding is a far greater and irresistible desire to discover the Law Stone of Herdos. So we've got one Law Stone. Apparently there's 7 of them. I didn't know that before. So we're now headed to Desi, which is in the big map, this little section down here, underneath the desert. To find the second Law Stone at a castle which we've had a vision for, which is known as Castle Death. Shortly before dawn, your thoughts are disturbed by a knock at the door of your chamber. It is Rimoa. The time has come for your mission to begin. You follow him through halls and galleries to a rooftop platform nestling among the crimson towers of the Temple of Truth. Here you are greeted by a young man. He is tall and dark-skinned, with plaited flaxen hair and sharp, cat-like eyes, and he wears the gold and scarlet tunic of a vaqueros, a warrior magician of Desi. "Hail, Paido," says Rimoa, bowing to this proud young man. "Hail, my lord Rimoa," he replies respectfully. "We are ready to sail." The first rays of the dawn light shimmer along the golden hull of a magnificent skyship that hovers above the rooftop platform. As the hum of its powerful engine rises, you thank Rimoa and bid him farewell before following Lord Paido to the boarding ladder at the edge of the platform. Once safely on board, the skyship rises into the chill dawn air, and Lord Rimoa and the Tower of Truth shrink swiftly beneath its golden keel. You look down with growing fascination as the sleek, bat-winged craft passes over the circling waters of the Elzian Canal and speeds northwards above the jungle of central Desi. As the grey chasm of Gorgoron looms into view, splitting the emerald green land like a deep and terrible wound, Lord Paido joins you at the rail. Time passes in conversation and you learn much about the people of this untamed land and their history. You learn that the Elder Magi are all that remain of a race of great magicians who ruled Central Magnamund many thousands of years ago. They were wise and powerful, and their leadership was great until their numbers were decimated by a plague that swept across the world. Those who survived sought refuge in Desi and have lived here in the mountains and the jungle ever since. Vaqueros are native soldiers of Desi who have been taught the art of battle magic by the Elder Magi to help them defend the northern border against invasion by the warlike Vasagonians. When you tell Lord Paido of your own past battles with the Desert Warriors, you sense a sadness within him. "Oh, I wish my brother Cassin were here with us now," he says, staring thoughtfully towards the distant horizon. You could tell many a brave tale of the great desert wars. You ask what has become of his brother. There is a long pause before he replies solemnly, "Khazad-ud." Oh, so his brother went to the Castle Death as well. The land of Desi is now spread out beneath you like a gigantic map. To the northwest, you can see the foothills of the Carcos Range and a faint ribbon-like glimmer that is the River Doi. To the east, a bank of grey storm clouds advances, unchecked across a sea of jungle vegetation. Shortly before noon, you sight your destination. The low-domed buildings of Herdos appear on the horizon, followed by the waters of Lake Kor, and a blackened finger of rock upon which sits Kazan Ud. Even at this great distance, the awesome sight of the terrible fortress sends a chill along your spine. Lord Paido orders his crew to prepare for landing, and within the hour the great skyship is casting its shadow upon the flagstones of the Plaza of Herdos. You are welcomed by Lord Ardan, Elder of Herdos, and a detachment of his Vaqueros guards. They escort you through the streets of the ancient town, past the tiny stone-walled dwellings of fishermen and miners, to a quay where a glass-domed tower, several stories high, commands access to the busy harbour. As you enter the tower, you notice that the glass dome radiates a greenish light that, in spite of the blinding glare of the midday sun, can be seen quite clearly. Later, as the sun sinks slowly behind the peaks of the mountains, the light emanating from the tower becomes more visible, covering Lake Kor with an umbrella of ghostly luminescence. Lord Ardan explains, "This tower, together with 5 others that encircle the lake, generates a shield of magical energy that imprisons the evil of Kazan Ud. No creature, living or dead, can enter or leave the Isle of Kor so long as our shield remains intact. We dare not lower our guard, and to allow you to land on the island, we have devised a means by which you may pass through the shield unharmed." He takes a gem, the size of a small apple, from the pocket of his silken robe and places it in your hand. It is a dull, translucent red, but within its core a swirling mist of glittering sparks flickers with gold and silver fire. It is a power key. Guard it well, for so long as you possess it, you may fulfill your quest. Lose it, and you will never escape from the Isle of Kor. At midnight, my vaqueros will take you by boat to the edge of the shield. On board is a small coracle in which you can pass through the shield and make your way to the Isle of Kor. We shall pray for you, Lone Wolf. Midnight finds you standing on the deck of a square-rigged fishing boat. The sighing night wind and the creak of rope and timber are the only sounds that accompany you across the black waters of Lake Kor. You arrive at a wall of shimmering green light, the power shield. The vaqueros whisper their goodbyes, and you paddle through the wall, drawing closer with every stroke to the sinister island fortress. 200 yards from the glistening black shoreline, you note 2 places where you can make a landing. So we could go to the stone jetty on the west, or the sheltered bay at the east. Don't think it really matters. Look at the map. So that's Razan Ud. You can come from the west or the east. Stone jetty seems more like appropriate for a landing. I don't know. We'll go from the west. A streak of green forked lightning lights up the collapsed roof of Kazan Ud, and for a second it looks like the shattered ribs of a giant lizard. There is another flash of lightning, and 100 tower windows glare at you, like empty eyes edged with slivers of broken glass. A line of carved stone gargoyles adorns the black stone walls overhanging the jetty. Rings of rusted iron are clamped in their snarling jaws, each wound round with slime-encrusted ropes that dangle in the water. At the jetty it is deep enough to allow a large vessel to dock, but the current and the swell of the tide make it increasingly difficult for you to control your tiny boat. Your stomach tightens as the swell threatens to dash you against the jetty. I mean, swimming's not going to be much better. Should try and grab one of the ropes. With your trembling hands clasped tightly around the slippery green rope, you fight to lock your feet together to prevent yourself from sliding into the heaving swell. The crack of splintering wood fills the night as the coracle shatters and sinks without trace. A sudden jolt runs the length of the rope, and a snaky head rises from the black water. It dips and swerves upwards, opening its jaws set with fangs like long yellow knives, and fixing you with its blind white eyes. You are clinging to the body of a deadly lekor that is poised to strike. Oh, balls. Do we fight it? Like, dive into the water? That's his territory. We're not gonna survive in the water. Let's defend. Not too bad. The lekor twists and writhes in frustrated fury, for it cannot shake you free from its trunk. The head rears up, and a droplet of venom splashes on the back of your hand. It burns like a red-hot dagger. Fight the sea dragon in the water. I reckon that would just be an instant death, like jumping into the water where it lives. And you cannot stifle a cry of pain. The serpent snickers, its red forked tongue lashing the air just a few inches in front of your face. Due to your precarious position, you cannot make use of a shield or any two-handed weapon. Oh. Alright. You must treble any endurance point losses you sustain during the combat. Treble? I mean, we still got the edge, but this is... we could take a beating here. We could use the Potion of Aletha. I mean, we have a high chance of getting no damage to us. Let's just try. 0 times 3. Okay, we got lucky to begin with. Alright. Alright, we win. Your killing blow severs the lekor's head, sending it spinning into the cold black waters below. A wave of shock ripples through its body, and suddenly you are falling, its limp torso still gripped between your feet. Seconds later, you hit the lake with a loud splash and sink like a stone. Gasping for air, you claw your way to the surface and swim for the rocky shore. Heaving yourself on the cold water, you crouch down, breathless and exhausted, beside a line of huge boulders, half buried in the coal black sand, and take stock of your belongings. You have lost 2 items from your backpack. No sooner have you managed to control your breathing than you hear the sound of scraping, as if some heavy weight were being dragged across the rocks to your left. A vertical crack appears in the surface of the nearest boulder, and a sickly yellow light washes over you. It is not a boulder. You are staring at a huge eye. To throw away 2 items. Oh, damn. Like a mirror, I guess. Like that was from last book. 1. And... suppose this potion. Alright, the eye. How big is this eye? Like, if we attack the eye, then whatever it's an eye of, it's probably just gonna rise up and swallow us. Let's escape. A terrible growling follows you across the bleak shore as you race towards the high rock wall that is the base of Kazan Ud. At first, the sand felt comfortably warm, but now your boots have become unbearably hot. A few yards ahead, a line of stepping stones rises out of the scorching black sand. The stones lead away towards a jagged fissure in the rock wall. line of stepping stones. So do we step on the stones or this burning sand? Well, are the stones a trap or something? I guess we'll go on the stone. The relief is instantaneous. Quickly you move from one stone to the next until you arrive at the shadowy opening in the wall. Echoing in the darkness, you hear the rustle and slither of unseen things. Suddenly, something round and black breaks through the surface of the lake, splitting the night with its hideous cry. It hovers for a few seconds above the water before hurtling towards you at an unnerving speed. We use the bow? Only the faint green light of the power shield illuminates your moving target. You notch an arrow and take careful aim as it speeds up the beach, weaving in and out of the boulders that litter its path. The arrow pierces the center of the sphere and disappears completely. Fearing that your missile has proved harmless, you shoulder your bow and are about to draw a hand weapon when suddenly there is a flash of light and a tremendous explosion. The black sphere bursts into 1,000 pieces and is consumed in a fireball of brilliant yellow flame. A wave of heat sears your face and you're hurled backwards into the fissure by the blast. It takes a few minutes for you to get your bearings in the gloom of the narrow corridor. Outside, strange sounds echo across the beach, making you forget your natural caution and move deeper into the darkness. The uneven floor is coated with mud, and the warm, moist air reeks with a repugnant odor that reminds you of gutted fish. You press on, taking great pains not to slip and fall, but the light soon fades completely and you slow to a halt. We do have a lantern. 1 second. Okay. Your light flares brightly in the moist gloom of the passage. A cavern lies ahead, immediately ahead, its high arched roof, a mass of dripping stalactites. hanging like thick spears of pearly white stone. Cautiously, you step across the cavern floor, your skin prickling as peculiar sounds emanate from the shadows. You wind your way through the labyrinth of tunnels, slipping on moss-covered rocks, grazing your head on low ceilings, and scrambling up and down steep ridges and rockfalls until you arrive at a smooth-walled chamber carved with precision from the hard black rock. A staircase ascends through an archway to your left, and directly ahead stands a massive stone door. Let's check out the door. At first glance, the door looks completely smooth. No locks, bars, rivets, or hinges mar its polished surface. However, closer examination reveals a tiny keyhole set near to the floor. We don't have the key. Your basic Kai skills tell you that the lock that secures the door is magical, not mechanical in nature. All attempts to discover its secret are blocked by the spell that shields the lock. Reluctantly, you abandon the door and leave the chamber by the stairs. The staircase seems to continue forever, coiling its way upwards through the solid rock. But eventually you arrive at a landing from which a tunnel stretches into darkness. You're about to enter when your basic Kai instincts alert you to a shallow step that crosses from one side of the tunnel to the other. A closer look reveals the step to be a perfect square of marble that covers the first 10 feet of the tunnel. We jump across the slab, we can prod it. Thing is, we'll probably lose the weapon we used to prod it with, and I've only got a sword. I mean, jump across it, I think. You clear the slab with one bound and press on along the winding tunnel. A warm, damp wind whistles along the rough-walled passage, carrying with it a rancid smell of sulfur and decay. For over an hour you walk down the tunnel, leaping over fissures in the uneven floor and taking care not to tread on glistening blue-black worms that slither away into cracks in the rock when your light invades their damp, dark world. Eventually the tunnel opens out into an oval-shaped chamber. A staircase, festooned with cobwebs, ascends to an open trapdoor in the ceiling. The familiar pale green glow of the power shield filters in through this portal. At the foot of the stairs lies the mouldering remains of a body partially encased in armor. A rusty sword is clenched in its skeletal fist, and a bone-handled dagger protrudes from the base of its skull. Let's have a look at the body more closely. You recognize the dead man's hauberk as that of a Kakushi mercenary, the 10-pointed star of Nikesa, the symbol of that country's capital city, adorns each of the rusty buckles that fasten his chainmail armor. In a leather pouch hanging from his belt, you discover 6 gold crowns, and inside the tattered remains of his backpack, there is a rope and a hooded red robe. I mean, is there a reason we would even bring money to this castle? It's not. They're not exactly going to have traders, are they? A close examination of the weapons shows them to both be quite useless. The bone-handled dagger crumbles to dust when you try to dislodge it from a corpse's skull, and the blade of the sword is dull and eaten by rust. Sure, we'll take the robe and the rope. Climb the stairs and investigate the open trapdoor. Oh man, trapdoors. Let's have a look at the trapdoor then. Leaving a path through the thick cobwebs proves more difficult than you anticipated. Sticky, rope-like strands soon cover you from head to foot, and, to your horror, they begin to shrink. It is too late to evade this attack. You must fight for your life. Reduce your combat skill by 4 points. Well, we still got a good ratio at least. Alright. could win. Cutting yourself free from the last of the deadly strands, you race headlong up the stairs and out through the open portal. You discover that during the struggle you lost a weapon and one item from your backpack. Erase a weapon of your choice and the second item on your list of backpack items. What do they mean by second item? Like, I know it orders them here, but is this the order in which you pick them up? Yeah. So this is the second, as in the second earliest item you ever had. Alright. So... you have to drop a weapon. I'm not dropping the fancy bow. Drop a sword then. You find yourself standing in the ruins of a small storehouse. Through the shattered pane of glass of the solitary arched window, you can see the eerie outline of broken battlements and a fire-blackened tower. You are staring at the remains of Khazan-ud. Stepping carefully through the slime-smeared rubble, you stop for a moment to catch your breath and survey the shattered keep of Khazan-ud. It is a desolate sight. Only stone buildings remain intact, and everything is covered with creepers and mildew. A great fire must have ravaged the inner fortress to have resulted in such total devastation. In the center of the keep stands the Great Hall. Still an imposing stronghold and made all the more frightening by the constant flash of green lightning. Beyond its burnt and fungus-covered wooden door, twisted tree forms with sharp barbed thorns sprawl across the cracked flagstones like coils of steel wire. You're about to enter when a movement in the air around your head arrests you. A shape is taking form in the doorway, a shadowy figure with flaming red eyes. An icy chill grips your heart as it sweeps past you with a swirling rush of wind. You spin around to see it hovering in the sky, its shadowy hand now gripping a great spiked ball and chain. It shrieks an unearthly cry and the ball whistles down towards your unprotected face. You deduct 3 points for the first 3 rounds of combat. Unless you have Pump Mastery, okay. We got -4. Could be alright. Damn, I'm getting hit. Okay. Quite hurt. The shadow flares red before dissolving into a dense grey mist. We were fighting with our fists there. That is carried away swiftly on the stormy air. A sudden chill makes you shiver. You pull your cloak around you, taking comfort from its warmth. But it is as if the cold comes not from the damp wind, but from somewhere deep inside you. Stealthily, you cross the cracked, flagstoned floor of the Great Hall, your muscles and nerves tensed for the sounds of danger. Constant sound of dripping water and the howl of the storm add to the utter desolation of the chamber. A thorny jungle of briars climbs the walls with greedy claws, coiling around the rotten frames of paintings and weaving through damp and mouldering tapestries. Suspended above the fireplace is a great Anarian broadsword, its pitted steel blade pointing to one side. Your eyes travel along the blade to the shadows of the fireplace, and you notice something lying in the grate. Moving nearer, you see that it is the body of a dead man. Welcome in, Wugger. Yeah, I completed the last book yesterday. It took a lot of tries. It was a tough one. The Behind it is a panel wedged open by the corpse, and peering into the gloomy opening, you can just make out some stairs disappearing down into darkness. Let's examine the body. I need a weapon. The first thing that you notice is the warrior's lack of wounds. No sword cuts or arrow shafts pierce his armor. If it were not for the unmistakable smell of death, you could be forgiven for thinking that he was asleep. You turn the body over to look at his face and recoil in shock at the sight before you. The eyes are missing, leaving two ghastly black holes. The tongue hangs out, dark and swollen, and from the corners of the twisted mouth oozes a thick greenish fluid. Filled with revulsion, you leave the body and step into the secret passage. Descending the narrow staircase, you arrive at a tunnel-like corridor sandwiched between two walls of mouldering masonry. Foul, oily water gurgles along a channel in the slippery floor towards a distant archway, which is blocked by a black iron portcullis. Bolted to the crisscrossed bars is a plaque which bears a curious design. For those who cannot use the illustration of the plaque, alright, well, they're just describing what this image shows. They're being very specific, so I guess this image is actually quite important. On the wall to your left is a large rusty dial with a brass pointer. Set around it, like the numerals of a clock, are the numbers 1 to 40, and below the dial is a lever. Your basic Kai instincts tell you that by selecting the correct number or numbers and pulling the lever, you will open the portcullis. We don't have either of these. You ponder the problem for several minutes using your natural Kai instincts to the full as you try to discover which of the numbers on the dial will open the portcullis. The image of four numbers, 3, 9, 13, and 33, fill your mind, but try as you might, you cannot determine which of them is correct. We don't still have the image. I mean, it might just be like the number of points around the image or the number of corners. It's probably going to be something high like 33. Let's try 33 then. At first there is silence. Then a faint squeak grows to a shuddering rumble as the cogs of a hidden counterweight grind into action. The squeal of tortured metal resounds in your ears as the portcullis rises jerkily into the soot-blackened ceiling. Wasting no time, you duck under the rising bars and hurry into the tunnel beyond. You've taken only a few steps when you hear a faint whispering sound. You watch, horrified, as the hard stone floor beneath your feet disappears into a yawning black hole. Helpless, you tumble into the void, knocking yourself unconscious on a jagged outcrop of rock as you plummet into unknown depths. Uh-oh. How healthy are we? We're still damaged. You regain consciousness with a start, reaching instinctively for your weapon, lest danger be waiting to greet you. A dull throbbing fills your head as you sit up to take stock of your surroundings. You find yourself on the top of a mound of rotting vegetation stacked high in the corner of a shadowy chamber. A harsh reptilian odor fills your nostrils, the unmistakable smell of snakes. As your vision clears, you notice, amid the slime that covers the floor, what appear to be undigested human bones. A ribcage, two skulls, and several vertebrae are illuminated by a shaft of light that descends from a grate in the ceiling. It flickers, and for a second you catch a glimpse of a skull-like face through the iron bars. Fear wells up inside you as a chilling laugh pierces the silence. But it is not the sound of the cruel, inhuman laughter that freezes your blood. It is the sight of the colossal, wedge-shaped head that is rearing up through the mound which you sit. It is the head of a gigantic snake. Another snake? You leap to your feet and run to the far corner of the chamber, your heart pounding loudly in your ears. The snake rises up almost to the ceiling, its forked tongue flickering angrily below a single yellow eye, which is set deep in the center of its green, scaly head. Once more, the chamber echoes to cruel laughter as the monster shakes off its rotting nest and slithers forward. We don't have animal control. Yeah, we'll use the bow. To your horror, you discover that the quiver is completely empty. Your arrows have fallen out and lie buried in a nest of vegetation upon which you awoke. Damn it. Oh boy. Oh my god, it's got endurance 60. Oh man. The snake reveals its fangs. Like great curved broadswords glistening with venom. The problem is we don't have a weapon. So we get a -4 penalty. And if we had a sword, which is our trained weapon, it would be a +3. So we'd go from -4 to +3. That's a +7. Basically. So we're losing out on that. You grip your weapon, bracing your back against the wet stone wall, and waiting for the right moment to strike. As the monstrous head sways awkwardly from side to side, you catch sight of a small tunnel cut out of the far wall, which was previously hidden from view by the snake in its nest. Your spirits are raised by the possibility of escaping from this nightmare, but first you must fight this hideous creature. Up to 4 rounds of combat. We just have to survive for 4 rounds. We've got 15 health. Alright, let's use the... Oh no! That's what we lost. We lost the potion that gives you +2 combat. We're fucked. Alright, we just have to survive 4 rounds. 1. No! I've got 5 health left. Yes? I'm dead. Quick, drink the graveweed. Yeah, go out on my terms. Alright. That was quite a combat-heavy run, although there might have been ways to avoid them. Alright. So, restarting the book. Got nothing. So the question is... Oh, okay, we got bad combat. Wonderful. Do we still get the stuff from the monastery? I don't think so. I think basically you lose everything. Because you can store stuff in the monastery and then retrieve it in later books, but that's just assuming you survive. Oh. And it's all bugged now. I'm gonna have to restart the book, like, fully. Just load the book from memory completely. Because for some reason when you die and restart, you can't choose these. It gets confused. Alright, well, let me just see what the next page says. I want to see what this deal with the monastery is. So just choose 4 random things. There's nothing in the monastery. Okay, so you lose everything. Alright, let's just start the book fully. Castle Death. Alright. 8. Nice. 7. Alright, so good combat skill. So we should volunteer your coding skills. I mean, yeah, I think it might be open source. I could actually look into that and fix it. I mean, it'll take me so long to get through the whole series. It could get fixed in time for it to actually matter. I mean, the workaround is not that bad though. Literally just start the book from the main menu. I mean, I found a couple of other bugs, but it's hard to reproduce them or explain what caused them. There was one occasion where it thought that I was at a certain rank, which I wasn't. I don't know. Oh, another occasion, my gold count became not a number. The only evidence I have of that is a video, so I'd have to check the video to figure out what happened. Alright, so choose weapon mastery, bow, sword, maybe broadsword, because we found a broadsword lying around. Well, they offer you a mace at the start. I'll take mace. So we can pick 3. So definitely choose curing. Animal control seems useful against some of those creatures. So if we take Hunt Mastery again, we'll get that +1 combat. And you avoid extra combat skill loss. Yeah, we'll just go for the usual combination. Weapon skill, Hunt Mastery, and curing. This is quite combat heavy. And if we lose our weapon, we still need high combat, because otherwise we get the -4. Money. Well, I don't think we'll even really need money in this book. Take up to 5. Fire Seeds seems interesting. Take Sword and Bow and Quiver. Probably lose it all. So we've taken 4 items. I kind of need the lantern. If we lose the sword, we'll have nothing. So I could take the mace, but I think the lantern's more important. Can't take any more. Alright, so our skill is 22, that's pretty high. Try not to lose the sword. Alright. Alright, last time we went on Stone Jetty. Let's try going to the Sheltered Bay. Alright. Vivid green flashes of forked lightning and the rumble of distant thunder add menace to the towers and sheer stone walls of Kazan-Ud. Many of the roofs and turrets are in ruin, their twisted beams and floors lie open to the sky, giving the fortress a burnt-out and deserted appearance. As you approach the tiny bay, which is tucked inside the shelter of a horseshoe reef of jagged black rocks, your eye is caught by a glow of tiny red lights moving in the shadows at the base of the fortress wall. You notice a dry hollow among a group of rocks close to the shore that offers an ideal hiding place for your little boat. Silently, you disembark and drag the coracle up the beach towards the rocks. Seconds later, you are halted dead in your tracks by the sound of muffled squealing. Sweat breaks out on your brow when a flash of lightning reveals scores of small red eyes close to the sand. A seething flood of rats, each as large as a puppy, but gaunt and half-starved, is scurrying toward down the beach towards you like a torrent of black water. With pounding heart, you search for some means of escape from this ravenous horde of squealing, snapping rodents. I don't think we can stand and fight. I think this is like a river of rats that we don't stand a chance. So we can drag our boat into the lake and paddle. We'll climb over the rocks. We'll climb over the rocks. A new sound is added to the terrible squeals of the hungry rats, the sound of splintering wood. In less than a minute, your small boat is completely devoured, leaving no trace of its ever having existed. The jagged rocks cut into your hands and knees, but you are oblivious to the pain as you clamber across them to the beach beyond. You set off at a run, but the fine black sand closes around your ankles and your legs ache violently with every desperate step. A glance over your shoulder warns you that the pack is gaining ground rapidly. They will be on you before you reach the rocky base of Kazan Ud. Then suddenly the squealing stops. The black tide is halted at the edge of the beach. Their white teeth snap on empty air, and hungry eyes watch your every movement. But every single one of them is rooted to the rocks. As you turn to make your escape, you wonder why the rats no longer pursue you. Uh-oh. This is... Oh, it's the snake, isn't it? Less than 10 feet ahead lies the horrific answer to your question. Rats are scared of snakes. Oh, it's a toad! -7? A great toad-like face stares unblinkingly into your eyes as it emerges from the shadows to bask in the green light that illuminates the beach. Its body, pale and bloated like a huge fat worm, slithers into view, and you shudder at the sight of the open sores that disfigure its skin. A ghastly noise echoes from deep within its open mouth as it rears up to attack you with a razor-sharp tongue. Really? -7? It just has a really high ratio. So we have to take 2 turns. Alright. What are we on? 22 health? We might actually win this. Nice. But what are we on? 12 health. Not too bad, actually. Okay, we win it. The hideous creature lets out a deafening cry as you strike your final blow. It crashes to the ground, displacing a ton of sand as its bulk settles on the beach. Attached to a heavy black chain around its loathsome midriff is a gold key. Sure, we'll take it. Your victory raises your spirits, but they soon sink again when you hear the unmistakable sound of rats. The chase has resumed. The frenzied squeal of the rats fills your ears as you force your aching legs to propel you across the beach. Beyond an outcrop of pitted stone, a stream cascades down the sheer rock wall, cutting a deep gully across the beach as it flows into the lake. Spanning this gully is a natural bridge of stone. Its center is very thin and narrow, and as you near the bridge, you fear it is too thin to support your weight. Guess we'll try and swim, but I mean, rats can swim. The swift undercurrent of the stream is so powerful that you are swept along the gully and far out into the lake. The weight of your equipment, your fatigue, and the highly polluted stream water all conspire to sap your strength. You cannot keep your head above water and lose 5 endurance points due to lack of oxygen. Often known as death, but we are Magnakai, so... Alright, so we're at this page, so we lose 2 backpack items. We've only got 1. We have to give up the lantern. The eye. Ignore the eye. So we'll step on the stones. And then what? Then we get to something flying towards us. So we can fire our bow at it. Boom, it explodes. We don't have a light source now. We just lost it. Then we fall... Wait, have we been on this page before? I think so. It takes us right here. But we still have our sword, at least. No. We have to use the bow. But I know that all that happens if we use the bow is that we find we lost our arrows. I'd rather not find that out. Oh, you've lost all your arrows. Alright, and then we fight this thing. I mean, this 0 is okay. But it's got 60 health, so... might want to evade it. We'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4... So it's on 33. We're on 8. We have to evade it. Alright. To your dismay, you discover that the tunnel is no more than a shallow cave that shelters a clutch of eggs. Each one as large as a barrel of ale. They lie upon a bed of packs and torn clothing, all that remains of the previous adventurers who fell foul of this giant snake. An angry snickering and a stabbing forked tongue force you to the back of the tunnel, warning you that a similar fate might lie in store for you. Examine the eggs. I mean, that's not going to bring us closer to the snake, is it? The eggs are warm, and you can feel tiny movements through the leathery shells. Carefully, you roll them aside and sift through the debris of the nest. You discover several items of interest. Oh my god. Was this good? The sound of a bolt and the creak of a dry hinge echoes from the chamber behind you, causing your pulse to race anew. Pick the number from the random number table. 0. Alright. Should we take... Oh, help. Alright, take some of the interesting items. A blanket, bottle of wine, the potion, the waistcoat, mace. What? How many weapons do we have? Oh, because we don't have our special bow anymore. Damn. Take the helmet. Alright. You crouch in total silence, every nerve and muscle tensed in readiness for combat. A new sound reaches your ears. It does not come from the chamber, but from the tunnel in which you are hiding. It is the sound of a cracking shell. You turn to see a mass of slimy, twisting serpents, each as long and as thick as your arm, hatching from one of the eggs. Instinctively, they slither towards you, attracted by your body heat and driven on by insatiable desire for food. Really? They're newborns? Should we take a quick health potion? Okay. Blindly, the young serpents writhe around your feet, their fanged jaws snapping wildly at your unarmored legs. Combat is unavoidable and you must fight them as one enemy. We could use a fire seed though. We got 3 of the fire seeds. So even though we've got a high ratio, try and avoid the health loss. And it might spark an event of some sort. Alright, use the fire seed. You grab the fire seed from your pocket and hurl it to the ground. It explodes on impact with a blinding flash. Hissing and spitting, the serpent broods slither away into the shadows, eager to escape the stinging pain of the flames. More noises echo from the chamber. This time it is the chinking of armor and weapons. Desperately, you tap the wall with the hilt of your weapon, praying for the dull, telltale thud of a thin or hollow partition through which you might effect an escape. The walls yield no such sound, but in the roof you discover an old trapdoor hatch, sealed off with bricks and mortar. The faint glimmer of light seeping through a hairline crack fills you with a renewed hope. With a flurry of blows, the mortar crumbles and the bricks split and fall. Without waiting for the dust to settle, you climb through the jagged hole and emerge into a hall that is filled with a damp and earthy smell. 2 rows of great stone pillars support the roof, and a huge granite sarcophagus stands in the center of the floor. From within a black tunnel to your right, you hear the clanking of armor and the sound of approaching footsteps. We could try and ambush it. -6? Uh-oh. What are we on? 17. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Taking up a position to one side of the tunnel, you press yourself flat against the wall and wait for the best moment to strike. 4 warriors, dark and grim, march into the hall in single file. At first sight, you mistake them for Drakarim, for their black armor and skull-like helmets identical to those worn by the evil human warriors who serve the Dark Lords of Helgadad. As you launch your attack, you see their features and realize that they cannot possibly be human. Great sloping shoulders support their unnaturally long arms. Yellow, clawed, hairy hands grip axes and spears of rough, wrought iron, and behind them swing long, tufted tails like those of lions. Your first blow shears through the black backplate of the last warrior in the line, causing him to howl like a demon and collapse in a crumpled heap at your feet. The others spin to face you, their reactions battle swift, their weapons raised to counter your threat. The leader throws open his visor to reveal a boar-like snout and tusks. He bellows a fearsome growl and stabs at you with his spear. The others echo his cry and close around you. You cannot evade combat and must fight all 3 as one enemy. It's possible, but the odds are against us. Ooh, a nice opening. Nope, dead. It is really combat heavy. And we had good combat. They've got really high combat skills, that's the problem. Like, we should maybe, even with high combat, be trying to avoid them. Okay, we've got max combat. And pretty high endurance as well. Alright, so yeah, go take the combat, take the... I don't know, sword, bow... Did we find any weapons? Just go with mace, I suppose. Alright, Deirdre, see you next time. Take curing. Like, you gotta take curing. Like, some of those snakes are venomous. Tempted to try something different. Hunt Mastery will get us that +1. Like, we could beat that enemy. We just need to have more health when we get there. Scythe Surge will give us a +2. Hunt Mastery will give us a +1 with the combo. I don't know. Just take Hunt Mastery again. I think we can fight these fights. Alright. If we take the bow and arrows, we just end up losing them, but... we do need them to fight the flying thing. Right, Fire Seed is useful. 1. Lantern's pretty important. Oh, we're gonna lose it though. Take the bow and the arrows, but we'll probably end up losing the arrows. And the sword. And the lantern. That's as much as we can take, right? We'll probably lose them. Alright, do we want to fight the... get chased by the... fight the toad or fight the sea snake? Both sort of lead to the same place. I don't know, fight the snake. Alright, so this one's an easy fight. Oh damn, but we get hit a lot because of the, bloody hell. Okay, we got hit a lot. Because the venom, it triples the damage to us. Drop 2 backpack items, damn it. So yeah, we just lose the lantern every time. I think the toad part, there's probably a chance we get to keep them. Should we try attacking the eye just to see what happens? No, we got no health left. Alright, we've got a bow. Yeah, let's use it then. Oh, we miss. How much health we got? 12? Let's fight it, but it doesn't explode. It's a missile. Let's hide. Alright, then we end up here. We have to use the bow to find we've lost our arrows. And then we have to fight, survive 4 rounds. 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. What are we on? 10. He's on 25. Oh, we could actually beat him. No, we'll elude. Then we examine the eggs more closely, and that gets us all this stuff. Which is pretty good. What do we... Mace. Alright, we'll take a mace. Oh no, we can't. Alright, pick a random number. Alright, now we're in this room. Okay, we don't want to ambush because they're too tough and we don't have health. So we can leave the hall. Oh, if you defeat the toad, you get the gold key. Should go for the toad next time. You make your way quickly along the tunnel until you reach a chamber illuminated by a shaft of shimmering red light that descends from a square hole in the ceiling. A pair of huge iron doors fills the opposite wall, but in order to reach them you have to pass through the eerie red light. Oh, that's such a trap. Close to the archway by which you entered, another tunnel exits from the chamber, curving off towards the east. That is so... that's gonna be like an Indiana Jones style thing. Alright, just leave. You follow the tunnel for nearly an hour before arriving at a torchlit hall, whose walls are hung with beautiful tapestries. Undamaged by the damp that pervades the upper levels of the grim fortress. It looks as if the hall is a dead end, and you're about to turn back when you notice a small door tucked away in one corner of the opulent chamber. Let's have a look at the tapestries. The designs are woven from pure gold and silver, studded with gems and semi-precious stones. You marvel at the craftsmanship and beauty of these tapestries. They must be worth many thousands of crowns. One gem in particular catches your eye, a large diamond. Sure. A large corridor greets you beyond the door. You enter and feel your way along the wall, guided only by a tiny light in the distance. The sudden screech of metal sends a chill down your spine, and to your horror you see a wall of black iron falling in front of the door. In a matter of seconds, the exit is sealed off completely. A loud hissing fills your ears, and a strangely bitter smell assails your nostrils. By the time you realize the air is being flooded with a powerful sleep gas pumped in through tiny vents near the door, you're already succumbing to its irresistible power. Oh my god, what is going on here? You awake to such an astounding sight that you feel sure you must be dreaming. Before you lies a titanic circular hall of glittering marble, rising tier on tier like a gigantic amphitheater. A vast pit fills the center, from which arises a pinnacle of black iron, which is licked by sheets of flame that roar up from the depths below. Scores of seated creatures crowd the tiers, every one of them staring at you, their eyes like pinpoints of fire gleaming coldly from the shadows of their hooded robes. You hear the rustle of their mocking laughter, and your skin prickles with eerie premonition. A great gong booms in the distance, and a doleful chant arises from the crowded tiers. An urge to run from this evil place grips you like a fever, but your wrists are manacled securely to a bronze ring fixed to the wall above your head. "Let the trial commence," commands a mighty voice, filling the hall with clamoring echoes. As one, the robed spectators rise from their seats as a shaft of light pours down upon the pinnacle, illuminating the outline of a man, white-haired and gaunt, seated on a massive throne of solid, gleaming gold. Suspended in the air above his head are two crystals, one as clear as a polished diamond, the other as black as the grave. A crackling arc of energy travels between the two, and this flickering blue light sheds a ghostly shadow on the face of the seated lord. "Intruder," he says, his voice soft yet chilling. "You have come to Khazan-Ud with murder in your heart. Have not the cowards of Eldian promised to reward you for my destruction?" A drone of dissent surges from the crowded tiers, drowning any answer that you offer in your defense. The Lord rises slowly from the throne and turns to his baying minions, his hand outstretched as if to receive the adulation. As their ghastly drone grows louder, your eye is drawn to the clear crystal that hovers above the throne. A golden light now glows at its core. In a flash of understanding, you recognize the object of your quest. Here is the Lawstone of Herdos. "Your verdict, my children?" cries the wild-eyed man, his voice now harsh and angry. "Guilty, Lord Zada," the crowd howls in reply. "The sentence?" retorts their master. "The maze!" they scream. "The maze!" There's no way anyone would still have the summer sword by now. That's from book 2. You'd have to survive like 5 books. Alright, we don't have the summer sword. The crowd howls its approval as a rickety, hunchbacked creature swathed in a hooded robe approaches the platform on which you stand manacled to the wall. Deftly he strips you of all your weapons and passes them to an ugly-faced dwarf hovering close by his side. Take him to the maze, commands the white-haired lord. His cruel, mocking laughter echoes in your ears as you are dragged from the hall in chains. You lose all weapons and weapon-like special items. Alright. But we still keep all the other stuff. And the quiver. Fire Seed might be useful then. An escort of armored guards forces you along a steel passageway lined by a crowd of jeering minions. They punch and spit as you pass between them, and their foul curses ring in your ears. The guards halt before a huge door of iron and unlock the manacles that encase your bruised and bloodied wrists. The points of their spears never wander far from your throat, discouraging any attempt at escape. The door rumbles open and a cheer goes up, and you are pushed headfirst into a foul-smelling pit. Welcome to the maze, sneers the chilling voice of Lord Zaldar from somewhere high above your head. You struggle to your feet and peer up at a ceiling of swirling mist. A faint glow is gradually taking shape, condensing and forming into the likeness of a human skull. Baleful green eyes stare down at you from bony sockets, and a powdered wig, like that of a high court judge, sits squarely upon its fleshless head. You came here to kill. No, I didn't. But your plans have been foiled, and now you must face the consequence, echoes a voice in the skull. You have been sentenced to enter the maze of Zaldar. If you escape, your life may be spared. If you fail, then you'll surely die, a fitting end for one who came here in search of death. The skull retreats into the mist, and a deathly silence fills the pit. The semicircular shadow forms on the wall ahead. It grows larger and darker until it resembles the mouth of a cave or tunnel. Suddenly a gust of chill air whistles from out of this darkness, and you realize that you are staring at the entrance to the maze. Enter, orders the voice. Enter or die where you stand. It is no idle threat. A crossbow bolt slams into the sand barely inches from your feet, and the click of a steel drawstring warns that another could follow if you disobey the command. Reluctantly, you step forward and enter the maze of Zaldar. You are standing in a passage, the walls and floor of which are completely sheer and smooth. Overhead swirls a mist that gives off a dim, diffused light, just sufficient for you to be able to see your way ahead. Without your weapons, you feel naked and vulnerable, but you take some comfort in the fact that you still have your backpack, your gold crowns, and your special items. Not much. Cautiously, you walk along the passage, expecting the unexpected, until you arrive at a circular vault. There, upon a block of marble in the center of the floor, lies a steel sword. As you step into the vault, slabs of stone sink into the floor to reveal two exits, one to your left and another to your right. Should we pick up the sword? It's not going to be a trap, is it? As your hand closes around the hilt of the sword, somewhere in the mist above your head, the voice of the skull speaks a chilling rhyme. Hand to take, spell to break, stir a terror in your wake. I mean, I'm guessing if we take the sword, we'll have to fight something. But it's, I mean, it'll give us a huge swing in combat, so I think we'll take the sword anyway. As the blade leaves the block, there's a tremendous howl, like that of a mountain wolf baying at a full moon. Your heart leaps into your mouth, and you back away hurriedly, half expecting it to change into a ravening monster at any second. It takes several minutes for your fears to subside. Cursing your predicament, you sheathe your newfound weapon and ponder which exit to take from the vault. Alright, we'll go left. You have barely covered 100 yards when a blood-curdling howl echoes along the passage behind. Spinning round, you see the outline of a gigantic black wolf loping towards you at a frightening pace. Its evil eyes flash in the dim light, and its great fanged jaws hang open in eager readiness to bite. You can't outrun a wolf. Let's stand and fight then. The great wolf slams into your chest, ramming you to the ground with the weight of its massive body. Fangs rake your arm, and burning saliva splashes your face. Desperately, you stab and slice at its throat, fighting with all the strength and skill you can muster to free yourself from this merciless beast. Of course, it's immune to Mind Blast. Hound of Death. Alright, we should probably win this. Alright, we're quite healthy. So far so good, alright. The blood of the dead wolf stains you from head to foot, filling your nose with an acrid smell. With sword in hand, you stare down at the carcass and shiver at the thought of how close you came to death. The dim light grows brighter, and for a moment you hear laughter cold and distant before the light fades to its usual murky glow, and you're surrounded by silence. After a few hundred yards, the passage turns abruptly to the right. Glinting in the dim light is a cluster of huge bubbles floating languidly up and down in the passage ahead. A slight breeze lifts them, and slowly they bounce towards you. Bubbles? Try and strike them, but they probably release a gas or liquid or something. Or strike them. You cleave a path through the bubbles as easily as if you were scything cobwebs. As your sword punctures their jelly-like skins, they implode and plop to the floor in tatters. You move on, your eyes peeled for the slightest hint of danger. A shadow on the floor in the distance makes you wary. Your fear soon turns to dismay, for as you grow closer you can see that it is a deep, dark pit that stretches across the entire corridor. There appears to be no way across. Staring at the opposite side, over 30 feet away, you ponder the impossible task confronting you. A sudden glow in the misty ceiling heralds the return of the skull. The path across defies your sight. Find the path or stay and fight. Both the skull and the echo of its voice gradually disappear, to be replaced by the sound of heavy footsteps approaching from the passage behind. The gloomy corridor looks deserted, but the footsteps are growing louder and louder. We do have wine. With the words of the skull reverberating in your mind, you pull out the cork with your teeth and shake the liquid into the pit, spreading it in a wide arc from left to right. You're certain that there is an invisible bridge across the pit, if only you could locate it. The footsteps halt. You hear a piercing crack like that of a whip, and immediately afterwards an angry red wheel opens your wrist. The container spins from your hand and seems to bounce in midair before dropping into the void. You have found the bridge, but now you have an invisible enemy to contend with. Oh, the enemy's invisible? He's gonna whip me when I'm on the bridge. We still got the bottle of wine. What exactly did we use? Or maybe we used water? Is there such thing as water? I don't know. You wish to fight your unseen enemy. Well, let's go on the bridge. On your fifth step, the silence is broken by another crack. The invisible whip bites into the back of your legs, causing your knees to buckle, and you flinch with pain as you stagger forward. You slip and fall, but miraculously manage to hang on to the invisible beam. But you ignore the pain, concentrating all your effort on swinging them back onto the beam. Just as you succeed, the crack of the whip resounds once more and burns its mark across your back. When the whip cracks a third time, it cuts only air, for you have crawled out of range of its cruel bite. "Good!" booms the voice of Zada, as you land on the opposite side of the pit. "You are brave, but have you brains as well as battle brawn, I wonder? Ha! Soon we shall see." The voice conjures an image of Lord Zada in your mind. He is seated on a golden throne with the object of your quest, the Law Stone of Parados, suspended in the air above him. You resolve to survive this accursed maze and escape. If you can then only find your way back to Zada's throne hall, the success of your quest will be within your grasp. You walk along the passage that leads away from the pit, your mind filled with dismay as you contemplate the problems and perils that lie before you. One such problem looms into view as the passage takes a sharp turn. You enter a chamber where a tall bronze statue stands. You recognize its distinctive headdress and robes immediately. It is a Zakan, a ruler of the desert empire of Vasagonia. The statue looks most distressed. Its arms are outstretched in a gesture of hopelessness, and the expression on its face is one of sorrow and despair. Beyond the statue, an oval-shaped door is set flush in the wall, but you discover that it is locked. The mist grows brighter. Once more the skull appears and speaks, its voice as comforting as a raven's croak. Listen to the Zakan. Ponder what you hear. Give the correct answer, for fear he sheds a tear. The skull disappears into the misty ceiling, and you watch amazed as the dull bronze lips of the statue begin to move. A harsh voice echoes from deep within its hollow metal body. My daughter has many sisters, and as many sisters as she has brothers, but each of her brothers has twice as many sisters as brothers. What the... So answer me this, wise warrior. How many sons and daughters do I have? Each of her brothers has twice as many sisters as brothers. So the girl has as many sisters as she has brothers. Each brother has twice as many sisters as brothers. Okay, fine. So let's say she has 3 sisters. There's 4 girls altogether. That means she has 3 sisters. That means she must have 3 brothers. And each of her brothers has 2 brothers and 4 sisters. Yeah, it's 3. So what exactly are they asking for? The number of sons that the Zakan has. 3. Wrong answer. What? Number of Oh, wait. Write down the number of sons the Zakan has, and then immediately next to it, the number of daughters. Oh, okay. Number of daughters... 4. 34. Here we go. In reply to your correct answer, the oval door emits a click and slowly swings open. You step through and descend a steep ramp to a long corridor whose walls are covered with what appear to be gigantic cocoons that stretch into the distance for as far as you can see. The oval door clicks shut, but the clicking continues, like an echo, only growing steadily louder. In the gloomy corridor ahead, you can see that something is moving. A huge worm-like creature with great black eyes and horny mandibles is slithering towards you, a purple froth bubbling from its mouth as it picks up your scent. We don't have any of these things. So we probably just need to fight it. Okay, this is easy. Relentlessly, the worm moves forward, forcing you to back up the ramp towards the oval door, but there is no escape this way. You have no choice but to fight the repulsive creature. The monster is especially susceptible to psychic attack. Well, we don't have that, right? Your killing blow makes the Udagorg twist back on itself, its head disappearing into the misty ceiling. There is a deafening crack as blue lightning engulfs its neck, crackling snake-like around its horrible body and filling the corridor with the smell of burning meat. The creature thrashes wildly for several minutes, and when its gruesome dance finally ends, you see that the canopy of mist is no longer there. In the darkness above, you see a deserted walkway and a metal observation platform. Ooh, we can get onto the platform? As you pull yourself onto the cold iron platform, you see the maze spread out below you like the surface of a massive brain, each chamber a cell populated with perils created by the devilish imagination of Lord Zarda. A crisscross of interconnecting walkways is suspended above the maze by gigantic chains that vanish into blackness. You hurry along the iron path towards a staircase that descends to an arch beyond the boundary wall of the maze. As you run through it, you hear an alarm bell echoing in the vastness above. Your escape has not gone unnoticed. A vaulted corridor lies beyond the arch, which leads to a junction with 2 exits. Go left. The passage leads to an enormous compound of cells that holds the slaves of Khazan-ud. They are, in the main, a pitiful herd of gangling black-skinned creatures with sorrowful eyes and backs bent crooked by years of hard labor. These prisoners press their sad faces against the tiny grates of their cells, curious to see the fair-skinned warrior who walks upright among them. They hiss as you pass, until the entire complex echoes to the sound of their sibilant scorn. At the end of the block, there is a cell that resembles a cage, denying its prisoner even the smallest degree of privacy provided by the others. You stare through the bars at a dark-skinned man sleeping on the straw-covered floor. His blonde hair and red and gold tunic are stained with blood and grime. A key to his cell hangs by a cord on a peg driven into a nearby wall. Sure, let's release him. The creaking door stirs the man from sleep, and he rolls over and cowers in the corner of his foul-smelling cage. His eyes are cloudy like frosted glass, and his face and hands are pitted with disease. You recognize the symptoms of takadea, or jail rot, as it is commonly called in your country. As you approach the trembling man, you reassure him that you mean him no harm, that you can help him if only he will trust you. Placing your hands over his eyes, you transfuse the healing power of your Magnakai skill into his sick body, concentrating your energy into reversing the terrible effects of the disease. When you remove your hands, his eyes are no longer opaque, they gleam with a cat-like intensity. "I can see," he says in astonishment. His voice cracks with emotion. "How can I ever repay you for this miracle?" Before you can answer, the sound of running feet echoes along the corridor outside. "Follow me," he says, springing to his feet. "If Zada's guards find you in here, they'll kill us both." You follow him to the end of the cell block corridor, the angry shouts of Zada's jailers ringing in your ears. A staircase looms ahead, descending to a lower level, but it is guarded by a grim-faced beastman, armed with an axe. Double all endurance points lost by your enemy. Okay, nice. Well, this is easy. Insta-kill. Nice. Your companion rolls the body over and unsheathes a short sword and dagger from the belt. You may take the axe that was used in combat and the dagger if you wish. At the bottom of the stairs is a deserted hallway, at the end of which are 2 great doors of gleaming bronze. Sumptuous tapestries and statuettes of gold line the walls on either side, and an ornate fountain of silvered marble fills the hall with a melodious bubbling sound. You have covered less than 20 feet when an armored guard steps into view from behind the fountain. He raises a crossbow, and you shout a warning to a newfound partner, but you are too late. The bolt hisses through the air, hitting him with such force that he is knocked off his feet and sent crashing to the ground. The guard fumbles in a leather pouch for another quarrel with which to dispatch you. I'll take the axe. We need to attack him quickly, otherwise he'll just shoot us. The speed of your attack catches your enemy completely off guard. He attempts to parry your first blow with his empty crossbow, but you knock it from his trembling fingers, leaving him without a weapon to hand. You race over to your companion's side and discover that he is still conscious, although he has lost a lot of blood. Using your healing skill, you repair the wound as best as you can, but it is deep and severe, and you can only prolong his life for a few minutes at most. You tell him of your quest and the help the Elder Magi have given to enable you to enter Khazan-ud. As you recount your air voyage to Herdos aboard Lord Paido's skyship, you notice his eyes flicker in recognition of the name. "My name is Kashin," he says painfully. "Lord Paido is my brother." You notice the resemblance in his cat-like eyes and square jaw. I'm finished, Kai Lord, he says, his face bathed in sweat. But I can and will help you in your quest. Listen carefully. Over there behind the tapestry is a secret passage. It leads to Zada's throne. Above the throne is the Law Stone of Herdos. But beware. Zada has coupled its power to a Doomstone from the realm of Nauros. He draws his power from that accursed gem. If you are to succeed, you must first destroy the Doomstone, or you will surely perish. Sadly, I cannot help you escape from Khazan-Ud, for I myself was captured long before I reached the surface. But if you can get to the beach, make your way to the old stone jetty. I hid my boat beneath the steps there. His grip tightens around your hand as a wave of pain washes over his body. When you turn to Elzian, tell my brother that my death was not in vain. May the gods protect you, Lord Lone Wolf. As his eyes close for the last time, you promise that his bravery will live forever in the hearts of the Vaqueros, his brave warrior kin. You hear footsteps on the stairs. More of the enemy are approaching. If they too are armed with crossbows, your chance of survival will be very slim indeed. Before you stand two great bronze doors, flanked on either side by tapestries and gold statuettes. What didn't he say behind the tapestry? The tapestries are similar to others you have seen in the lower levels of Khazan-Ud. They are extremely beautiful and exceedingly valuable. However, it is what you discover behind them that is of greater interest, for they conceal a secret door. Your basic Kai senses alert you to a tiny button set into the wall. You press it and the door slides open to reveal a circular tunnel of gleaming steel. Quickly you enter and the door slides shut, moments before the hall is filled with Zada's guards. 50 feet along the gleaming steel tube, you arrive at a circular door in the wall to your left. What did he say? Will this lead straight to the throne? Let's try it. You spin a screw-like handle set in the center of the door, releasing the lock. You open the door and enter. Inside, you discover a room of steel. The walls, ceiling, and floor are all constructed of metal plate, which is polished to give a mirror-like shine. Low iron tables are set out with the implements and accessories of magic. Crucibles, retorts, aludels, flasks, all manner of twisting glass tubes which bubble and seethe with multicolored liquids. Vellum-bound tomes and crumbling parchments litter the shelves, competing for space with repulsive-looking pink organs floating in glass jars of small, vile-smelling preservative. You find all your confiscated weapons. Nice. In addition to your weapons, you discover a large jar of concentrated Larmspur and a Khazan-Ud platinum amulet. Nice. Take that. You could take the bow instead of the axe. And we got back all our special items as well. So we've got extra health capacity. As you walk, the temperature steadily rises until you're bathed in sweat. The steel plates of the tunnel become too hot to touch, and wisps of smoke rise from the soles of your boots where the leather is close to igniting. Well, we have the amulet. After what seems like an hour, but in reality is only a few minutes at the most, the scorching heat subsides and the tunnel air becomes painless to breathe. You press on and soon arrive at an archway where the shiny steel tube enters a chamber gouged out of solid black iron. There is a spiral staircase that ascends to a portal. You climb the stairs and peer out through the portal. A sight greets you that sets your pulse racing. Before you stands a gleaming block of solid gold, the back of Lord Zada's throne. Above it, hovering motionless in the air, are two perfect crystals. One glows darkly with black fire, the other radiates a pure golden light that sends a shiver down your spine. It is the object of your quest, the Law Stone of Herdos. Don't take the Law Stone. First we need to attack the black crystal. You unsheathe your weapon and strike a mighty blow at the black crystal. It splits clean in two, releasing its dark power and showering you with hot sparks in the wake of its destruction. The riven fragments hurtle into the fiery abyss that surrounds Zada's throne, quashing the roaring flames. Curse you, Kai Lord! Screams Lord Zada, leaping out from behind the golden throne, brandishing a platinum rod. Finally, he points the rod at your head and spits an evocation, but the power he calls upon no longer heeds his cry. From the depths of the pit, a terrible roar begins to grow. The floor shakes, and a column of flame lights the entire throne hall as molten lava spews high into the air. Zada staggers back, his face aghast with terror. Hurriedly, he kneels before his throne, his crooked fingers stroking at a pentagram engraved in the gold. Above the din of destruction, another sound, like the ringing of 1,000 tiny bells, can be heard, and in the blackness above the throne, a speckled glow appears. It descends towards Lord Zada until he is totally engulfed by a column of shimmering blue light. His body rises, lifted by unseen hands. Oh man. Well, if there's lava everywhere, we probably don't want to go back into the tube. Let's go into the light. I think he's cast like an escape spell or something. A wave of energy surges through your body as you close your hand around the Law Stone of Herodos. So we are at full health now. Your senses tingle, and a newfound strength wipes away the fatigue of your terrible ordeal, enabling you to assess the situation anew. You step into the blue beam, and immediately you're drawn upwards, following closely on the heels of Zada, who is struggling to stay in the center of the column of light. He is gripped with mortal fear of you, and as you see him he sees you gaining on him, he unsheathes a glowing dagger and inverts himself to face you as you approach. When you are at arm's length, he launches a wild mastery. A wild attack, not mastery. Well, this looks easy enough. We've got lots of health as a buffer. Chunks of stone and iron are blasted into the upper reaches of the throne hall by the increasing power of the eruptions. Boulders, some the size of horses, seem to tumble in slow motion all around the beam as you are drawn irresistibly nearer to the roof. Suddenly the beam fades and you find yourself standing on a circular plinth in the center of a ruined temple near to the gatehouse of the castle keep. The glare of daylight blinds you, but as you gradually become accustomed to it, you cast your eyes over the shimmering waters of Lake Kor to the town of Herdos perched on the horizon. The walls of the fortress are beginning to crack and slant. Buildings are crumbling, and the ground is alive with constant vibration. You run through the ruined main gate as bolts of lightning are drawn from the sky by the dying power of Khazan-ud. So he hid the boat under the staircase, didn't he? Is it these stairs? That old jetty, stone jetty. Should be this one. You are forced to cut a path through the horde of creatures that huddle on the steps leading to the jetty. Creatures are crawling out of the ground itself. Everywhere you look, black slimy hands are bursting through the surface, squeezing their way free from Khazan-ud through the scores of fissures opening up in the sheer rock wall. Near to the base of the steps, you are dragged to the ground by a clutch of loathsome slaves. They pay dearly for their mistake, but not before your backpack is torn from your shoulders. Really? My entire backpack? When you reach the jetty, you are covered from head to toe in the blood of your foes. The sight is so frightening that all resistance melts away and creatures hurl themselves into the lake rather than face the fearsome, straight-backed, white-skinned killer of their kin. Beneath the jetty steps, you discover an arch, sealed off at one end and with a weed-encrusted stone door at the other. inside a small wicker coracle and a paddle. Having fought off the most determined of Khazan-Ud's horrors, you launch the coracle, jump aboard, and paddle frantically towards the distant glimmer of the power shield. The deafening death cry of Khazan-Ud echoes in your ears. I mean, the most important thing is that we've got the power key. That's the only thing that will let us escape through the power shield. As soon as you have passed through the power shield, you are greeted like a hero by a huge flotilla of fishing vessels and trading barges. An hour ago, upon seeing the eruption of Khazan-Ud, every boat in Herdosh set sail for the shield, for the eruption signaled the end of the bane that had haunted Desi for hundreds of years. Now they cheer the Somlending warrior who has delivered them from Desi's evil shadow. Eager hands pull you aboard Lord Ardan's caravel, and a fanfare salute is sounded by the trumpeters of his Vakaros guards. We are forever in your debt, Lone Wolf, says Lord Ardan, as he shakes your hand warmly in gratitude and friendship. You have achieved what we feared to be impossible, and you live to tell the tale. Your bravery is an inspiration to us all. His words are reinforced by the delirious cheers of his people. He asks of your own quest, and when you remove the lore stone of Herdas from your pocket of your tattered and scorched tunic, his eyes widen with amazement. He bows his head and says in a solemn and respectful voice, "My lord, you stand upon the threshold of greatness. Your purpose and your destiny are known to the Elder Magi. We have awaited your coming for many thousands of years. Our survival and the survival of all we cherish rests on the success of your Magna Chi quest. The time has come, Lord Lone Wolf, for you to learn our wisdom, for we are of the same blood, you and I, and our fate is bound together. We will prepare you for your next quest, for the lore stone you must find next exists in the land that was once our home, in the temple that was once our most sacred place of worship, in the chamber where our master first appeared to us. Your quest has succeeded, for the strength and wisdom of the lore stone of Herdos is now a part of your body and spirit. But there is much for you to learn from the Elder Magi as they prepare you for the most challenging of the Magna Chi quests you have yet to attempt. A quest that will take you deep into the hostile swamps of the Danarg, where the evil creatures of Agarash, the damned, still thrive and dominate the land. If you have the courage of a true Kai Master, the secrets of the Elder Magi and the perils of the Danarg await you in Book 8 of the Lone Wolf series entitled The Jungle of Horrors. Alright then. We made it to the jungle. Alright, well, we'll do that next time. So we managed to keep sword and bow. We can take one more skill. We'll probably want arrows. How many books left? I'll just make a save first, and then we can see the list. That's the list. We are on 8, The Jungle of Horrors. And 29 is the final book. So yeah, 22 to go. Well, we'll get to take one more discipline. So, probably go for like we've got really good combat right now. So, but we could take Mind Blast. Or we could try to go for another of those lore circles, which would mean we need to take probably the pathfinding one. I don't know. We've got a huge amount of endurance. Because we've got the helmet, the waistcoat, and we've got the circle of fire. We've got this amulet still. That might be useful. And the diamonds. We never get a chance to sell the diamonds or anything like that. But, I mean, there were thousands in theory. Sword and bow. And we can take one more weapon skill as well. But we don't have arrows. Alright then. So the jungle is probably nearby. I believe it should be... There's a jungle right there. So right now, we were in Kazan Ud. And we made it back to Herdos. So the jungle, if they're talking about this jungle, well, there's a jungle down there as well. Probably this one here. That's probably the jungle we're going to. So in the jungle, we'll probably want to take the pathfinding skill, because I imagine you need it in the jungle. This is the Darklands. Is this like basically, this is like the home of the evil, Helgadad. We've never actually been there. But maybe at some point we will end up going there to put an end to evil for once and for all. Cool. Alright then. That's it then. I don't know if I'll actually do any tomorrow, but I will try to do these often if we have any hope of ever completing it for, well, December I have Advent of Code, so I'll probably have to put this on a hold during that. Alright, see you next time, Lone Wolf.